Very good morning, guys. Very good morning. Okay. So last day, last day we just been started up the discussion about properties. And what did I say? Properties are basically used for exposing the values that are associated with a class to the outside environment. Properties are used for properties are members of a class, are members of a class which are used for exposing the values that are associated with a class to the outside environment. To the outside environment. Okay. The advantage with them is we can provide only get access or only get access or set access, and also conditional assignment or access to the values. Okay. As we learned earlier, a class represents an entity. Remember, guys, as we learned earlier, a class represents an entity. We already learned it now. Class is an entity. Are you there? Hello. So we have learned about this particular thing. A class represents an entity. A class represents an entity. Okay. Same as that. Attributes of an entity are nothing but properties in the class. Guys, understood this? Attributes of an entity are nothing but okay, as we learned earlier, class represents an entity. Same as that, attributes of an entity are nothing but properties in the class now. So their properties are nothing but attributes, guys. Simply speaking, properties are nothing but attributes. Okay, so that's it. So, so basically, a class represents an entity, and attributes of an entity are nothing but properties in the class now. They're nothing but the properties in the class. Okay. Now, talking more about this one, talking more about this. Yeah, already in the last class, I explained you how to define a property. Already in the last class, I said you, the syntax to define a property. Come on, today let us define a properties. I'm adding a class here, customer, representing an entity called customer. I have defined a property called a class called customer, defining the properties of the customer. Public class customer. Okay, public class customer. So I have defined a class representing the attributes of a customer. Representing an entity called customer. Okay, guys, I have defined a class representing the entities called as customer. Okay, and now under this particular customer, I wanted to represent the attributes of the customer now. Have a look, guys. Public class customer. Now int customer ID, bool status, string name, double balance. 4 attributes. Now what I'm doing, I'm just going to define a constructor. See, I explained you in the ATM system case study. Do you remember this, guys? What is that? All these attributes, basically, we don't initialize all the attributes manually. So we will take the customer ID from the user, from the ATM card, and with that customer ID, we will be loading the rest of the values from the database. Remember that? Okay. So that's the process actually. This dot customer ID is equals to customer ID. Now what we'll do, we'll be connecting to the database with this customer ID, and we will be loading the rest of the attribute values from there. Are you clear? We will be connecting to the database by using the customer ID and load the values. Right now, because we don't have a database, I'm initializing with some static values, guys. I'm initializing with some static values. But remember, all these values will be coming from the database in the future. Okay, now we are taking static only, but in the future, all the values will be coming from the database. Okay, guys. So public class, public constructor, everything is public. Now, I'm going to define another class called as test customer. Test customer. Now in test customer, I'm creating the instance of the class customer. Watch. Customer obj is equals to new customer. Created an instance, passing the customer ID. Now when you create an instance and pass the customer ID, what will happen automatically? All the 4 attributes are now initialized. Once you create an instance and call the constructor, all the 4 attributes are initialized, right? But unfortunately, see guys, even though these attributes are initialized, the point to remember is, even though these attributes are initialized, the point what you require to exactly remember is, all these are private. Because all these are private, they are not accessible to you from here. Watch it, obj dot. Not showing you, see? Not showing you. Why not showing you? Because all are private, and private members of a class are not accessible outside. So this is the problem where I started in the last class. And what did I say? If you want to provide access to this particular value outside of the class, option number 1 is declaring public. But tell me guys, declaring public, is it a wide choice? Is it a wise choice? Is it going to be a wise decision? Not at all, because once I declare this as public, now I can access it now. See, obj dot. See, customer ID is in the list. That's a field. See that? That's a field, clearly telling you that's a field. But if I make it public, everyone will get access, set access. You can assign with whatever value you want. No restrictions. But I can access it now. But this is not a wise thing. So then what is the correct thing? The correct thing is, don't declare them as public, guys. Don't declare them as public. Always make a habit of defining properties. And what did I say? When you want to define properties, say tomorrow, my class will have 100 fields here. In the 100 fields, I want to expose 10 values only outside. Listen to me, all of you. My class has 100 fields. I want to expose only 10 values outside. So in that scenario, will I define 100 properties? Huh? Come on. My class has 100 fields. But the number of values I want to expose is only 10. When I want to expose only 10, how many properties will you define? 10 only. But tomorrow, after 1 week or after 1 month, if you after 1 month you look back into the class, how do you remember on what fields properties are defined? After 1 month, if you look back into the class, 100 fields are there. In these 100 fields, 10 fields are associated with properties. You should identify now which fields are having properties. For that reason, whenever you want to define a property on a field, declare it with an underscore. When you declare it with an underscore, you can easily identify now. When you declare it with an underscore, you can easily identify. Tomorrow, whenever you look into that, you can easily identify, okay, this field is associated with a property. For a better identification, that is the thing what you're going to do. This underscore will tell you these particular fields are associated with properties. Are you guys clear? Okay, guys. So that's what. So this is how you can identify these fields are associated with properties now. Now, guys, let's start defining properties now. The first property I want to define in customer ID, and that should be a read-only property. The first property I want to define is a read-only property. Okay, guys. So watch public int customer ID. And if it is a read-only property, we require to write only get accessor, get return underscore customer ID. That's it, guys. Return underscore customer ID. Now come here, watch it. Obj dot. Now look, is the field accessible? The field is not accessible. Property is accessible. This is the icon of a property. Last class I said you. This is an icon of a property. And one more thing here will show you get. Tomorrow by looking at this, you can easily understand what type of property is. If it shows set means write only property. If it shows get means read only property. If it shows get and set means read write property. IntelliSense will tell you. Okay. So console dot write line customer ID obj dot customer ID obj dot customer ID. Run and see. You see 1005. Are you clear? 1005 is the customer ID. You're able to access the customer ID. Same like this, guys. Same like this. See, if at all you want to assign a value, suppose you want to assign a value, obj.customer ID is equals to 1010. I'm just trying to assign a value. But see, guys, when you try to assign a value, you are getting an error. You're getting an error. What is the error? Guys, observe it. Property or indexer. Ignore this or indexer. Indexer is our next topic. Property or indexer. Customer.customer ID cannot be assigned to. It is read only. Property or indexer. Customer.customer ID cannot be assigned to. It is read only. Are you clear, guys? That is read only. So assignment cannot be done. So because we defined a read only property. Okay, now next status. Come to status. What is the status? Generally, guys, if at all you have an account in the bank and your account is inoperative for a long period of time. You have an account in the bank and your account is inoperative for a long period of time. When your account is inoperative for a long period of time, guys, do you know that if an account is inoperative for a long period of time, generally this is going to happen. what is going to happen? Your account will be locked. Do you know that? If your account is inoperative for a long period of time, your account will be locked. Not blocked, locked. Okay? They will be locking the account. They will be locking the appropriate account. The account gets locked actually. So next, that is for security reasons here, and security reasons where do that. Maintenance charges will be there here. Apart from the maintenance charges, account gets locked. Maintenance charges are common. Account gets locked. Why the account gets locked? Security reasons. If the account is not being used for a long period, the bank lands in a confusion. The bank basically lands in a confusion. What confusion? The confusion will be like, means, the confusion will be like, is the customer alive? Really, guys, is the customer alive? Why the account is not being used? For that reason, for security reasons, they'll block the account. And now, suppose if for anything went wrong and the customer is not alive, the account should not be misused. For that reason, they will lock the account. And once the account is locked, no one can use that account. Tomorrow, if the customer wants to use the account, also cannot use. So what the customer has to do, the customer has to come to the bank, prove his identity, submit an ID, submit his ID proof, address proof, and activate his account again. Are you clear? Okay. Submit the ID proof, submit the address proof. After submitting all these things, the account becomes activated again. So this is the process. This is the process actually. So for that, they'll maintain a status column. Whenever they want to, means by default, the status value will be true. And whenever they want to inactivate the account, they'll make it false. They will make it false. And remember, guys, when the account status is false, you cannot do any transactions on it. When the account status is false, you cannot do any transactions on it right now. Okay. Now, I want to define a property to provide read-write access for the status. Read-write access, getting, setting, both should work. Okay. Now I'm defining a read-write property. Public string status get return underscore status set. Sorry guys, not string now, it's a bool. Yeah. Set underscore status is equals to value. Last class I explained, you see, the user assigned value will directly come here. And this is an implicitly declared, all of you understand, this is a parameter only. It's just like a parameter. Yesterday someone asked, don't I require to pass it as a parameter? Yes, it is a parameter only. Which type? Boolean type. Why? Property is Boolean now? So this is a Boolean type. Are you guys clear? It is a parameter only, Boolean type of parameter. Why? Property is Boolean. So now this is a read-write property. This is a read-write property, guys. So come on. Now, console.write. See, just a minute. Just to make you understand here, I'm writing obj.customer ID is equals to 1010. And remember, this is an invalid operation. Assignment is invalid and the property is read only. The property is read only. Tomorrow when you look at this to understand, I put it in comment, it won't work. Okay, next. I'm writing if obj.status is equals to true. Telling guys, if obj.status is equals to true means condition true, right? Console.writeLine customer status active. Customer status active. Else customer status inactive. And right now the customer status is inactive, guys. You can see right now the customer status is inactive. Dikshit, Mr. Dikshit, stop your video. Right now the default value is false here. Are you clearer, guys? The status of the customer is going to be inactive now. Okay, so the status of the customer is going to be inactive right now here. Okay, guys, fine. Yeah. Now, yeah, you can just see the status is going to be inactive. Fine. Next thing, what did you write here? Obj.status is equals to true means if the condition is true, execute this logic. If the condition is true, execute this logic. That is the meaning. Am I right? Means basically this evaluates, and if it is true, this condition will execute. So if you write like this also, that is sufficient here. No need to write like this. If you write like this also, it works. Why? Simply here, this is a Boolean. If it is true, automatically this code will execute. If it is true, automatically this code is going to execute. Now also you'll get the correct output only. Okay, guys. Now that's what. Okay, fine. Next. I want to define a read-write property on the name also. I want to define a read-write property on name. So, yeah. Again. Again, what I'm defining is a read-write property. Read-write property. Okay. So again, what I wanted to define is the read-write property. Public string name get return underscore name set underscore name is equals to value. Guys, listen. In this case, value is a string. Value is string. Why? Property is string. So this is also string. Now come here. I'm going to write console.writeLine customer name. Customer name. The name of the customer is obj.name. Yeah, the name property will expose you the name and you can see the name. John. And I want to manipulate the name obj.name plus equals to Smith. And now I'm telling you here, modified. Run, modified name comes. Is that clear, guys? I defined a read write property, so I'm able to set the values. Both the two things are working. Okay, now. But problem is, what is the status? Status is inactive. Status is inactive. Okay, just a minute. I'm going to write a read write property on balance also. Public double balance get return underscore balance set underscore balance is equals to value. And guys, if you observe, the value is of type double here. The value is of type double here, the property is double. Okay. And now I wanted to find out the balance value. Console.writeLine, console.writeLine, customer balance. And here I'm writing obj.balance. You can see the balance value is 5,000. But what I'm trying to tell you is, guys, very simply speaking, status is inactive. When status is inactive, what did I say? When the status is inactive, you cannot do any actions, I said now already. When status is inactive, you cannot do any action. But see, I am able to change the name. I am able to find my balance. All these are working. Is it wrong now? All these are wrong actions, guys. When the status is inactive, these actions are all invalid. You cannot perform these actions now. Okay, so that's what. So see, first, guys, first understand. If the status is inactive, set operation should not work at all. Set operation should not work at all. Guys, from now onwards, whenever you write a setter, don't forget this condition. What is it? When the status is inactive, setter should not work. Okay, so I'm writing a condition. If underscore status means if the status is true, then only this has to execute. Then only this has to execute. Okay, same way here also. If underscore status, then only it has to work. Now come back, guys. When you come back, see now, the set operation will not work here. See, modified name is also John only. Why modified name is John? Because status is inactive. Status is inactive. Okay, see what I'm writing here. Modification failed because status is inactive. So here modification fails, guys. Modification fails. Because the modification failed, the name is still John only. Okay, just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Okay. So, guys, if you just understand, so what I'm just telling you, yeah, right now, assignment failed because there is a condition. One more thing, guys, what you know, here we written a condition for set now. One more thing. See, when the status is inactive, balance also should not be showing the original balance. It has to show zero. When the condition is inactive, I don't want to show the balance to the customer. I want to show the balance as zero. Okay. So that I'm writing a condition in get also here. Only for balance, not for name. Name I'll show, but balance I'll show zero. So for that I'm writing code. What? If underscore status, if underscore status, return balance, else return zero. Is it clear, guys? See now? Balance is zero now. Balance is showing zero. So customer balance, customer balance when status is inactive. The customer balance when status is inactive. You watch it, the customer balance when the status is inactive is zero. Here also, customer name is showing you, but modification failed because status is inactive. Are you guys clear? Already done in set na. Already done in set. But for balance, there is a condition in get also. Get also has a condition, set also has a condition. The difference is this is a read write property. This is a read write property with a condition in set. And this is the read write property with a condition in get and set. Are you guys clear? Anywhere you can write the condition. Okay, guys. So now all these actions are not performed because status is inactive. All these actions are not getting performed because the status is inactive. Now, guys, observe the same thing. Observe the same thing, yeah? Watch. Observe the same thing. What I'm doing, I'm saying obj.status is equals to true. So what I'm doing? Activating the status. Obj.status is equals to true. So I am activating the status. Status I'm activating. After activating the status, again, all these particular statements, guys, watch it. All these statements, I'm copying it and again pasting it here. Now see the difference now. See the difference. Status active. John Smith, 5,000. I will change here. I will change all these particular things. But see, inactive, active. John, fine. But here also John. Here, John Smith. Here, 0. But here, 5,000. Are you clear? Modification succeeds here. Okay? Modification. No need. I'll just simply say modified name. Okay? Next, customer balance. When status is active. You can see now, it's much clear. Sorry guys, status is active. 5,000. Okay, now. Conditions. These conditions are very, very important. We can write the conditions like this. Okay, still see this, guys. What? obj.balance minus equals to 3,000. Console.writeLine. Modified balance. obj.balance. Guys, if I say obj.balance minus equals to 5,000, how much am I assigning to balance? If I say obj.balance minus equals to 3,000, how much am I assigning? 2,000. Perfect. 2,000. Yeah, the balance is 2,000 now. Modified balance. Now, guys, if I say obj.balance minus equals to 5,000, how much am I assigning? 0. Perfect. 0. You're assigning 0. 0. But if I say obj.balance minus equals to 6,000, how much am I assigning? Minus 1,000. Is it valid? Huh? Is it valid, guys? That is invalid now. But see, it is working. It is working and showing you, can you withdraw more than your balance? Huh? That's invalid. Oh, yes, that's invalid now. So what can I do? I need to write a condition again now. One more condition is required here. What? See, company has a rule, guys. What, you should maintain a minimum balance of 500 rupees. You should maintain a minimum balance of 500 rupees. Okay, bank has a rule. So now I'm writing if value greater than or equal to 500, then only this has to work. Otherwise, it's not going to be. Otherwise, array. Every bank has different policies here. Suppose we have a condition what to do, I'm telling you. Will not have, are you writing exactly like that only? Okay, so you just understand now. Right now, I'm assigning 4,500. Is this valid? How much am I assigning? Sorry, how much am I assigning to balance? 500. So minimum balance rule is satisfied now. Minimum balance rule is satisfied. But if I say 4,600, is it, how much am I assigning? 400. Invalid now. Invalid. See, failed, see. Failed. So remember, here what happens? Transaction fails. Transaction fails now. Okay? Because the transaction failed, balance when transaction failed. Now guys observe. 4,500 or 4,500. Transaction succeeds. Transaction succeeds here. Okay. When transaction succeeded. Guys, can you answer this question now? What is that? What is that? What is the output in the first case? 5,000. Why? Transaction failed. What is the output in the second case? 500. Why? Transaction succeeded. You can see now. Transaction failed, 5,000. Transaction succeeded, 500. Okay, now? Balance when transaction failed and balance when transaction succeeded. 500. So understood the need of the properties, writing conditions. These type of conditions can be implemented, guys. But if at all you just go to, public fields, you cannot write these conditions now. If at all you go to public fields, you cannot write these conditions, but with properties, conditions are allowed. Guys, clear with properties? Still, I want to define more properties, guys. Have a look. I want to define a property called a city. I want to define a property called a city. So underscore city is equals to, I'm assigning a value, Bengaluru. Underscore city is equals to Bengaluru. Bengaluru is the city what I'm assigning. Okay, guys. Now, I want to say public string city. Get return underscore city. I don't want any conditions here. Set. What did I say? In every set, there should be a status condition. If underscore status. In every set, there should be a status condition. Don't forget. Okay. And get is not mandatory. Get is only for balance. For setting, status should be active. Now, I want one more condition, guys. What is the other condition? The bank has its branches only in the 6 metro cities. The bank has its branches only in the 6 metro cities. Because the bank has its branches only in the 6 metro cities, the values what I'm assigning here, should be within the 6 only. Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad. Is that clear? So, these 6 are allowed. Okay. What is that? Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, and Hyderabad. Fine. Now, if you guys observe this, if you just guys observe this one, I'm going to write my second condition. What if value is equals to Delhi or value is equals to Kolkata or value is equals to Mumbai or value is equals to Chennai or value is equals to Bengaluru or value is equals to Hyderabad. Is equals to Hyderabad. If this is the case, underscore status, underscore city is equals to value. Are you guys clear? I'm putting up all the conditions now. Okay, now. Okay. Now you can just see, guys. Watch. Console.writeLine. Console.writeLine. Customer city. Oh God. obj.city. Bengaluru. I want to modify the city. obj.city is equals to Hyderabad. Modified city. Modified city. What is the modified city? The modified city is going to be Hyderabad. Working now perfectly? Now tell me, can I assign Pune? Invalid, see? Modification failed. So still showing you Bengaluru only. Still showing you Bengaluru. Delhi allowed? Delhi allowed. Delhi allowed. Nagpur. Nagpur. No. Kolkata. Kolkata. Are failed, guys. Kolkata failed, see. Kolkata failed. Why? Kolkata is in the list, but failed. Why? Condition checks are case sensitive, guys. Condition checks are case sensitive. This K I've written in lowercase. That's why it failed. Okay. But tomorrow when end user is assigning, does the end user know that K should be in capital? If city means Kolkata, that's all. It should be in Pascal case, proper case, Pascal case, uppercase. These all things end user don't bother. End user will only think like I entered Calcutta or not, that's all. So this is the first mistake in this now. This is the first mistake. Second mistake. Second mistake is Nagpur valid? Then it is invalid. Error should come now. If it is invalid, error should come now. No error. Tomorrow you are the end user. You are the end user. And you don't know the bank has the branches only in the 6 metro cities. So you tried with some 20 to 30 different cities, not from the 6. Not from the 6, you tried 20, 30 cities now. All are getting failed. All are getting failed. All are getting failed. Then you get irritation. You get irritation and you feel low. What is it? Who is the fool that developed the application? You'll have a feeling now. Who is the fool that developed this application? Why? Because either you tell me here, guys, listen. Either you tell me what? Yeah. Either you tell me what you accept. Either you tell me what you accept or accept what I give. You don't tell me what you accept and you don't accept what you give, then the developer is a fool now. Really, the developer is a fool. See, we went to a restaurant for having a breakfast. He has given you a menu. He has given you a menu and the menu contains 150 items in it. So you opened the menu and asked something. He said not there. Like this, till now, you asked 20 different items. He said not available. You asked 20 different items and he said not available. Don't you have the irritation now? Then you'll ask, what bad luck, yeah? Bad luck or good luck, that is secondary. Okay? Then you get irritation. What do you say? Then why did you give the menu to me? There are 150 items in it. I asked you 20 items. You said no. Then why did you give the menu to me now? Then what do you say? Tell me what you have. Then also, if the person says, look into the menu, see, you ask him, better you tell me what you have. If he says, look into the menu, what will be your action now? Your reaction will be throw the menu on his face and come out of the restaurant. Why? Arey fool, either you tell me what is available with you or get me what I ask. You don't tell what is available. You don't get what I ask. Don't you feel irritation? Tell me, come on. So the same thing is happening here also. The same thing is happening here also. So either the application developer should tell me what the system accepts. Either the application developer should tell me what it accepts. Otherwise, you accept whatever I give. Otherwise, it's a foolish application and a foolish design done by the application developer. Agree? Otherwise, this is a foolish application and a foolish design done by the application developer. Agree or not? Then how, sir, how to resolve this particular problem? I said, accept whatever I give. No, I cannot accept whatever you give. You cannot accept, then tell me what you accept. Either you accept whatever, that is not possible. That is not possible, then second option. What is the second option? Tell what you want. Tell not what you want. Tell what you accept, not what you want. I want so many things. Tell me what you accept. Tell me what are you accepting, so I will select from that. Okay? Yeah. Just observe this, guys. I want to set a background color. I want to set a background color to my console. Further, there's a property called background color is equals to. There's a property called as background color. Console.background color is equals to. I want to assign a color. Guys, in the universe, there are millions of colors. There are millions of colors where every color is a combination of an RGB. Every color is an RGB combination. Okay? Millions of colors are there. And now, all the colors what are available may not be supported here. May not be supported here. That's why, without confusion, see this, guys. When I'm trying to assign a background color here, when I say is equals to, and give a space, immediately one item will be highlighted here. One item will be highlighted here. And when I say dot, it is showing me the colors which are supported, see. It is showing me the colors which are supported. You can select a color from this list now. You can select a color from this list. I selected a color. Now see, guys, how beautiful this is. Without a confusion, it is simply telling you what it supports. Are you guys clear? Without a confusion, it is telling you what it supports. Are if you tell me what you support, no doubt, no confusions for me now. Guys, got my point? So the property is telling you, see, the property is telling you, I support this list of colors. So you select from this particular list. Exactly, if our city property can also tell that, what it supports, if our city property also can tell what it supports, then without any confusion, the end user can directly select whatever that is listed like this. Okay, got my point? But how, sir, how to define this? I'll tell you how to define. First, understand. What is background color? Background color is a property, guys. Background color is a property. It's a read-write property. Okay. Console is a class. We already know background color is a property. Now, what is console color? This is the doubt you will have in the mind. What the console color means? A console color is a enum. A console color is a enum. What is a enum? This is also a user-defined type. Guys, we have 5 user-defined types. Till now, we have learned 3. Class, structure, interface. We have 5 user-defined types. Till now, we have run 3. What? Class, structure, interface. Okay? And the 4th one is enum, and the 5th one is a delegate. Now I'm telling you enum, guys. This is also user-defined type. Okay? Used for storing a set of named constant values called as enumeration list. Guys, listen. This is also a user-defined type used for storing a set of named constant values called as enumeration list. How do we define it? Modifiers, enum, name of the enum, and here list of named constant values. See, right now we have saw one enum there. What is the name of the enum? Console color. This is predefined, guys. This is a predefined enum console color. In this console color, these are all the values what we have. What are the values? Black, blue, cyan, like this. We have all the values. Okay. So just the values are declared like this: black, blue, okay, white, yellow. Are you guys clear up? Okay, now. So this is what like this. We can just go for declaring this. This is how the enum is declared. Same like this, guys. I want to declare one enum like this. Public enum cities. Bengaluru, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai. Is an enum. This is an enum. And don't forget, guys, an enum is a type. Every enum is a type. Okay? If an enum is a type, suppose, guys, observe this. I'm declaring int I is equals to 100. And remember, what is int? Int is a type. Int is a type. Same way, which one? Which one? Are you talking about the values in the enum? Huh? They're case sensitive only. Everything is case sensitive. Okay. So now int I is equals to 100. What is int? Int is a predefined type. Same way, guys, remember cities is also a type now. User defined type. Int is a predefined type and cities is a user defined type. Are you clear? Number of times I said you. If I define a class, class is a type. If I define a structure, structure is a type. If I define the enum, enum is a type. How do you use it? Cities. City is equals to 0. Guys, observe it, all of you. You said int I is equals to 100. Same way now I'm saying city is equals to 0. Same way. What is 0? 0 means Bengaluru. 0 means Bengaluru. You can write like this also. City is equals to cities dot Bengaluru. Are you guys clear? Like that also we can write. Okay. And one thing remember, yeah, this index assignment is possible only for the first value. Don't know the reason why Microsoft did not provide that option here, but index assignment is possible only for the first value. For suppose from the second value onwards, you cannot assign like this. You cannot assign like this. You can assign either like this or you can assign either like this. Suppose I want to assign Delhi. I need to assign it like this. What you know? City is equals to cities of 2. Directly 2 cannot be assigned. Cities of 2. 2 means Delhi. I need to perform a typecasting and assign. But that option, that flexibility is only for 0. That's all. Only for first value. From second value onwards, you should assign it like this one. Okay, guys? Now, observe this, all of you. I'm writing underscore customer ID. Underscore customer ID. Can we define a property on this customer ID now? Can I define a property on the customer ID? How do you define public int customer ID? Get return underscore customer ID set underscore customer ID is equals to value. We already know this. This is what. Okay, guys. Same like this. Same like this. Suppose if I say underscore city here. If I say underscore city here, guys, come on here. Can you define a property on this city now? Can you define a property on this city? Write the code and show me. Come on, write the code and show me. I given you an example here, and based on that, now define a property on this city and show me. Come on, fast. Write completely, yeah. Write completely. I did not ask you to write first line. I asked you to write the whole code. Yeah, perfect, Kali Prasad. Yeah. So guys, that's how you're required to define the property. Public cities. Follow the cases perfectly. City. Why are you opening braces, Sandeep? Why are you opening braces, round braces after the city? You're defining a method, huh? Written underscore city. That underscore city is equals to value. Guys, you defined a property right now called cities, right? You defined a property called city. What is the type of the property? Cities. Cities is the type of the property. And what is city? Enum. It's a enum. And basically, we call this property as a enumerated property. We call this property as a enumerated property. Okay? What is that? We call this as a enumerated property. This property is what you call as a enumerated property. Enumerated property means a property with a set of values to choose from. A property with a set of values to choose from. So you'll be having a property with a set of values to choose from. So that's what we just call as a enumerated property, guys. Okay. So guys, let's see how to define it. Come back to your code. First thing is delete the city property first. Delete the city property in the code. Okay. Deleting that. Yes, everything. City is not there. First, what do you do? Add a code file in the project. Add a code file in the project. Why code file? Because we don't have a enum item. We have a class and interface only. Structure, enums are not there. When they are not there, the option is code file. So, I mean naming this as cities. I am naming this as cities. The cities is the name what I'm giving. Okay. Now you see namespace, oops project. Now in this, let me define the enum. Public enum cities. What are the values? Bengaluru, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and Hyderabad. Next, Kolkata, Mumbai. No one thing here. Actually, the values what you given here will be actually represented with their index positions. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. Put your mouse there, it is showing you. Bengaluru 0, Chennai 1, Delhi 2, Hyderabad 3, Kolkata 4, Mumbai 5. Suppose if you are not okay with that indexes, I'm saying is equals to 11 or is equals to 1. I said is equals to 1. When I said is equals to 1, means I'm starting the index from 1. Automatically Chennai is 2, Delhi 3, Hyderabad 4, Calcutta 5, Mumbai 6. Suppose you want to start from 10. See, Chennai is 11. The sequence continues. If you want, no, I don't want it like that. Then you can give your own index positions. Is equals to 20. Is equals to 30. Like this I can give. Now see, this is 10, 20, 30. What does Hyderabad tell me? What is the index of Hyderabad here? 31, not 40. 31, 32, 33. If you don't give, continuation will come. If you don't give, continuation only will come. Okay, now? Not it should be, it will be. You can give your own order, that is your choice. But if it gives, it will be. You don't require to give increasing order. You can give decreasing order also. That's my choice. Is equals to 60. Is equals to 50. Valid. If it gives, it will be increasing order. That's all. But if I give, I can give my own order. Okay. Now come to customer class. Now, watch. Cities underscore city. See now, just like you declared fields. Now I'm declaring a field called city field now. Underscore city is equals to 0. 0 means Bengaluru. Okay. Now come here. Public cities city. Get underscore city is equals to value. Sorry. Return underscore city. Set underscore city is equals to value. Statistic is required. I'll do it. If underscore status, then only underscore city is equals to value. Are you guys clear? Now code also became simple. We call this as a enumerated property. Guys, listen. We call this as a enumerated property. What is the enumerated property? Enumerated property means a property with a list of values to choose from. A property with a list of values to choose from. Watch it now. Obj.city is equals to, see that? The list is showing you cities dot. Got it? Now tell me, city property is which type? City property is which type? Balance property is a double type. Balance property is a double type. Name property is string type. City property is which type? Enum is wrong answer. Cities type. Use your common sense here. Cities, not city, not enum. Not city, cities. Property is also city type. Our property name is city. Balance is which type? Balance type, huh? Then city is which type? Shekha, where string came for you? Clearly showing you two examples here and asking, and you're telling wrong answer still. Balance is double type. Name is string type. Then city is cities type. And what you defined your own type. See, understand what is the difference, Here for the first four, we used predefined types. For the first four, you used predefined types. Someone already defined these types and given to you. But for this, we have user-defined type. So that's why what did I do? First, I defined my type. After defining my type, I used it here. Understood my point? Int, bool, string, bool, already predefined. But cities is not predefined. I defined my type now, cities. After defining that, string is also same, cities is also same only. Only thing is predefined and user defined. If you put that aside, this is also type only, this is also type only. Okay? So that's it. This is the read-write property. We call it as what? Enumerated property. See guys, tomorrow, if I assign a value like Nagpur, is it valid? What is the error? That is invalid. What is the error? Wrong. You listen the complete story here. After listening the complete story, again you ask who is the hero of the movie. Arey brainless fellow, city is which type, yaar? City is which type? City is which type? What I'm asking, answer that. City is which type? Cities. Now this is which type? This is which type? Nagpur is which type? Then you should have your common sense there, na? How can you convert a string to cities? That is the error. Why are you telling not in the list? Where did I select the list at all? I did not select the list at all there, na? Invalid type conversion. Tomorrow, for balance, can I assign hello? For balance, can I assign hello? Why? Why I cannot assign? Because balance is double, hello is string. Huh? Now city is which type? Cities type. Nagpur is which value? String now. Invalid type conversion error, na? That's a type conversion error, yeah, first. Not about not in the list. I did not select a list at all, na? Why you bother about not in the list now? The error is invalid type conversion. Remember that. Now guys, watch. Yeah. Bengaluru, Hyderabad. The new value is Hyderabad. Okay, next. Guys, I want to define a property called state. I want to define a property called state. State, yeah. Normal property only, guys. Normal string property. Okay, comma state. Sorry, guys. Comma state. Initialize state underscore state is equals to Karnataka. Karnataka. Okay. And now I want to define a simple read write property only, guys. I want to define a read write property. Public string state. Get written underscore state. That underscore state is equals to value. Underscore state is equals to value. Okay. So fine, guys. So condition should be there now. If underscore status, underscore status underscore state is equals to 1. Clear now? Simple property, nothing special about it. Nothing special. And is a read write property, anyone can get, anyone can set also. Anyone can get, anyone can set also. Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah. Now see, console dot write line, customer state, obj dot state. What is the current state I assigned there? The current state what I assigned there is Karnataka. Karnataka. Next, obj dot state is equals to Telangana. It's a read write property. Because it is a read write property, can get, I can set. Modified state. Modified state. Are you clear, guys? Now, the property is declared public. Now the property is declared as public. And because the property is declared as public, anyone can get and anyone can set the value. Am I right? Because the property is declared as public, anyone can get the value and anyone can set the value. Right or not? So there's an option like anyone can get this value, anyone can set the value. Possible. Because the property is a public property. Okay? So that's what. Okay, guys. Now, I have a requirement now, guys. I have a requirement. What requirement? Right now, the property is public. Anyone was able to get the value and everyone was able to set the value. The property is public, anyone was able to get the value and anyone was able to set the value. But I have a requirement, guys. What is the requirement, you know? The requirement is like, assignment of a value should be done. Means accessing of the value should be from anywhere. Access if it is accessing of the values, accessing the value should be from anywhere. Accessing the value should be possible from anywhere. But if you think of assigning a value, assigning of a value should be done only from a child class. Did you understand the requirement? Right now, anyone can get, anyone can set, because it is public. But what you want, accessing of the value should be for anyone, but assignment should only be for child class. Did you understand me? Something like this here. If you just observe this one, guys. See, if you visit the IRCTC website, in IRCTC website, okay. If you visit the IRCTC website, who can check the status if at all you want to book a ticket in the IRCTC? Who can check the availability status, guys? No need to log in. No need to log in. Wrong. Anyone can check the status. Anyone can check the status. Anyone can check the status. But if you want to book a ticket, we're required to log in. Earlier, guys, if at all you want to check the availability, we used to go to a website called as indianrail.gov.in website. indianrail.gov.in website, because in IRCTC compulsory logins only were able to check the status. But today they removed that restriction. In IRCTC only that option was given, that option was added. What is it? If you want to check the availability status, anyone can check the availability status. But if you want to book a ticket, compulsory you should be account holder. Is if you log in only, book can be, but checking can be done. Exactly, here also similar say. Who can get the value? Anyone can get the value. But who can set the value? Only child classes can set the value. Did you understand the requirement? Who can get the value? Anyone can get the value. But who can set the value? If you see, IRCTC, what is it telling you? If you want to book a ticket, become a member. Same way, this property, if you want to set a value, you should be a child class. So this is the requirement. In the earlier days, guys, when we have these type of requirements, we used to define two separate properties like this. Just a minute. We used to define two separate properties like this. How public string getState is one property. Read-only property, guys. Watch it. It's a read-only property. Next, protected string setState. Write-only property. Did you understand this? Public string getState, read only. Public protected string setState, write only. Now tell me, who can get the value? Anyone. Who can set the value? Child classes. So we used to define two separate properties like this. But later, without writing two properties like this, in C# 2.0, Microsoft has added an option. What is that? Without writing two separate properties, you can simply declare this as protected like this. Enough. So there's a property with different scopes to each accessor. It's a feature that was added in 2.0. Are you guys clear? You don't require to write two properties, guys. You don't require to write two properties. Without writing two properties, directly if you say set as protected, enough. Get is public and set is protected. Get is public and set is protected. Understood? But earlier what we used to do? We used to write two separate properties. One is a get state, public get state, protected set state. But now in a single property only you can fulfill this task. Now see, an error is waiting for you, see. Where is it waiting? Test customer. Why? Array, you cannot assign now. See? Assignment fails because current class is not a child of customer. Current class is not a child of customer. Because it is not a child of customer, this assignment is invalid. Are you guys clear? Okay, now? Now see, guys. This is the sixth property I defined. Till now I defined 6 properties to you. One more property I want to define here, country. One more property I want to define, country property. Okay, define. Guys, if at all you want to define a property, what are we doing till now? First, we are declaring a field. Step 1, declare a field. Step 2, initialize the field. Step 3, defining the property. Are you clear? Step 1, declare a field. Step 2, initialize a field. Step 3, define the property. Can't I define a property without declaring a field? Can't I define a property without a field? No, you cannot. Why? How can you do that? Because field is the one which is going to store the value. Field will store the value. Because the field will store the value, defining a property without a field means where will you store the value? Confusion now. Are you getting my point or not? So what I'm telling you, to define a property compulsory, we need to declare a. To define a property compulsory, we require to declare a. Okay, guys, you're sleeping. Bye. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye.
The recording has stopped.